Greetings, fellow foragers. My name is Danny, and welcome to Every Which Way. Today we're going to talk about the spotted water hemlock, or the poison hemlock. Since we'll be talking about a very poisonous plant today, I just wanted to make clear that as a forager, or if you're new to wild foraging, you should never be afraid of what you're doing. Do not let the fear of poisoning yourself scare you out of this fabulous hobby. Fear, hesitation, and assumptions are what lead to unclear thinking and bad decision making. Education and confidence in what you've learned are the key elements to safety when foraging. Never guess, assume, or convince yourself of an ID if any of the common attributes are not there. In order to be 100% positive of your identification, you must know the key characteristics of the species you're looking for. But it's just as important to know the toxic or poisonous lookalikes of said species. You must also know the parts of the plant or mushroom that are edible and how to prepare them properly for consumption. So never fear. Education is here. All you need to do is educate yourself with multiple resources. The fear of the wild is unnecessary and not conducive to a safe foraging experience. Respect for the wild and the land around you is what's really important. I caution you not to rely on identification apps, and books are wonderful, but nothing beats learning from an in-person guide or expert. Check out the local guides or societies in your area. Alright, now let's get back to talking about poison hemlock. This is a spotted water hemlock, also known as a Cicuta maculata, which is our native poison spotted water hemlock species. This species is typically found in eastern United States, with the western states commonly finding Cicuta douglasii to be the predominant species. Water hemlock is not to be confused with the invasive Conium maculatum, which is the invasive poison hemlock. This is an entirely different species and has more fern-like leaves. Be sure to learn what hemlock species grow in your area. The spotted water hemlock species is the most poisonous plant in North America. The reason I felt it was important to talk about this plant is so that you know to keep your eye out for this as you are roaming around the woods and the brush, foraging for other things, or so that you do not mistake it for Queen Anne's lace or yarrow. This is the flower of a Queen Anne's lace, which is in the carrot family and entirely non-toxic. And this is yarrow, a medicinal plant that is fully edible. And as you've seen, this is the spotted water hemlock. Do not ever consume this plant. You can see here that the leaves are serrated, pointed, and have purple coloring on the stem. And this is a Queen Anne's lace leaf, with many leaflets and no purple on its stem. Then we have a yarrow leaf, which is more feathery in appearance and also has no purple on its stem. To be honest, when I see a white-flowered plant standing between 3 and 6 feet that has purple on its stalk where the leaves branch off, this is my first big indicator that I might be looking at a poison hemlock or spotted water hemlock. And again, make sure you have a positive identification before harvesting any white-flowered plant. I will be addressing the risks of handling water hemlock later on in this video. As far as consumption, this could have fatal consequences. So never, ever taste or consume this plant. The symptoms of water hemlock poisoning are intense and deeply affect the nervous system. They include convulsions, seizures, paralysis, and coma, often leading to fatality. This can all happen within an hour or two, possibly even sooner. It is important to mention that consuming even a very small amount of this plant could be fatal. So again, when foraging plants, identification is key, and knowing what this plant looks like in your region could save your life. So let's take a break from my lady robot voice for a moment. I just wanted to talk about the handling of water hemlock and what might occur if you touch it. I don't suggest touching it. If you've accidentally brushed against it, it's not a big deal. You'll probably be just fine. The issue comes when you come into contact with the sap or the juices inside of the plant. So you want to make sure that you don't accidentally rub the leaves together, break apart the leaves, or break apart a branch. And when you're digging, you don't want to come into contact with the root. So it's really the sap inside of the plant that is toxic and extremely poisonous. So you definitely don't ever want to ingest it. You don't want to rub it into your skin. If you're brushing against it, which I have done accidentally, I've walked through a large patch of water hemlock and I didn't know what it was at the time. I figured it out and it panicked me a little bit, but I was totally fine. I didn't have any kind of reaction or anything. So generally, it's not a big deal if you've accidentally touched it. If you want to dispose of it because you found it on your property, you need to look up the proper ways to do that to make sure that you don't accidentally poison yourself. It is very important, if you are going to handle it, that you use gloves, that you don't burn the plant and then breathe in the fumes from burning it. You want to make sure you do this properly. As I mentioned, it's just extremely dangerous. So don't panic if you've touched it. You'll probably be fine. Just know that there have been documented cases of fatalities in children just from playing with it. There have also been fatalities from a group who misidentified it as something else and wanted to treat some itch. I don't know if it was mosquito bites or what it was, but they rubbed water hemlock leaves into their skin. And there were 2 fatalities that came out of that as well. So just be aware, look up what water hemlock looks like in your area. There are different species, so it could look slightly different. You just want to make sure you know the characteristics and are aware to be careful when you come upon it when you're foraging or hiking. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to let you know that this is not a comprehensive list of key characteristics of water hemlock. Please do your research and determine what species you have in your area so you know what to watch for when you're out foraging. There's some more. Thanks for joining me today on Every Which Way. Let me know in the comments if you've seen water hemlock in your area. Yeah.